Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone out there on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining this Cloud Hero Prep 2 event. Before we get started, I'm going to take just a quick second and introduce you to our DSC community event platform. The event that is being produced and brought to you today by DSC Leads. This website is actually going to have a ton of amazing events in the future that you could not only sign up for, but join via this amazing website. So I'm going to show you quickly how to find out if there is a local DSC chapter near you. So this is the dsc.community.dev page. We'll drop this link in the chat in just a moment. To find out if you have a local chapter page, go ahead and click the search button at the top. From there, you're going to actually search for your school. For this example, I'm going to use University of California, Davis. Once you find your school, you can actually click it. From there, it'll take you to their DSC event page. This is going to be the best place for you to join your school's chapter and be updated on all future events which get published from this specific community. But wait, there's more. Now, not only are you a member of this community, but you can actually see upcoming events like this Cloud Hero Prep event and the all-important November 7th actual Cloud Hero event, which will be happening this weekend. So let me show you how to actually RSVP and check into these events. So we'll do the Cloud Hero Prep event. From there, I'm actually already RSVP'd, but let me un-RSVP to show you all how simple and easy it is. Once you have an account created, which just takes an email address and subscribing to our terms and service, you can click RSVP. Then go ahead and hit submit. From there, all you have to do is click this blue join virtual event button. Not only will you be automatically loaded into our YouTube stream or whatever platform we are utilizing, but you'll also be counted and checked in. That way you will receive an event form after this event ends. So we can find out how to improve and make these events more compelling for you and students like yourselves in the future. And remember, this community is dsc.community.dev. When you go there, just search for your local chapter. If you don't happen to have a DSC chapter at your school, feel free to join University of California, Davis, or one of these other chapters. They would love to support you and help you connect with amazing content. That being said, though, pretty sure we're here to learn about Qwiklabs, the Google Cloud Platform, and SQL. So without further ado, I would love to welcome to the stage our two presenters, Abdullah and Adi. Welcome, y'all. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us. I'm really looking forward to this event. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop off and wish you all a fantastic event. I'll see you in the chats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so welcome everyone to the Cloud Hero Prep event. We'll go over an intro to Qwiklabs and SQL. Let's just wait a minute until the slides are up. All right, awesome. So let's get started. My name is Abdullah Hashim. I'm the DSC lead of the University of California, Davis, and this is my LinkedIn. Also, feel free to add me on LinkedIn so we can chat or about this event or any other exciting events.
And hey, I'm Adi. I'm the DSC lead at the University of Arizona. My LinkedIn is also on this slide, and you can feel absolutely free to connect with me and chat about anything and everything.
Awesome. And we will see Adi again during the SQL portion of this lab. After this workshop, we'll also be answering any questions that you might have on becoming involved with your community and the DSC student club in general. So let's get started. First of all, I would highly encourage all of you to join our Discord server. Over there, you'll be able to be matched with amazing mentors that would be able to help you right away. So make sure to, first of all, accept our community guidance rules that you can see over here by pressing on the check mark, then going to our Cloud Hero channel, specific channel, so you can get a live hands-on kind of assistance during our event today. You can also utilize the YouTube chat page, but we have amazing mentors waiting at us at our Discord channels. And those amazing mentors are Andrew and Bobby. They're both DSC leads of University of Oakland and University of Wisconsin. We'll be happy to assist you anytime during the event. So let's get started. So this is our agenda for today. We'll first be going on the welcome session, then giving you a hands-on of what is Quick Labs and how to get help during today's session. Also, we're going to go on a tour of Quick Labs itself, so you're getting more accustomed during the actual Cloud Hero event happening this weekend. And then giving you an SQL introduction, which is going to be the main tool that we're using during the actual Cloud Hero event. Then at the end, we're going to have a 2-minute workshop wrap-up and discussion. So what is Quick Labs? Quick Labs is an interactive online platform that helps you to learn like cloud platforms and softwares. Quick Labs is also hands-on, so you get to learn by actually using cloud platforms such as GCP and AWS. Well, it's not a simulated environment or some gimmick. It is actually the real deal used by industry leaders and companies. And so how do we access Quick Labs? Well, you could just visit quicklabs.com, as easy as it sounds. Then you will be able to feel free to explore all the Quick Labs, what it has to offer. There are an amazing library of labs that point on different kind of tools and aspects that developers might be interested in whenever they're feeling like they want to learn a certain aspect. There are many labs ranging from introductory level to expert level, such as machine learning, cloud architecture, big data, APIs, machine learning, and the list just goes on. So for the Cloud Hero event, we will link to specific labs that are part of data and machine learning tracks of the labs. And there are also several ways to keep learning and find more resources. Also, look at this link. You'll be able to apply for student benefits. As a student, Google gives you 200 total credits, and each lab is from 0 to 15 credits. So you do get access on a wide range of labs just by applying to be a student. You'll also get access to 13 full professional level Coursera courses for free. You will also receive access to architecture with Google Compute Engine specialization and data analysis track. And also that gets you the 50% off the Associate Google Cloud Certification examination. So what you're waiting for, the link is there. Make sure to sign up for it and receive your 200 free credits. So also participating in workshops like Cloud Hero, along with other labs in Quick Labs within the Learning Center of Google Cloud, can help you begin your collection of skill badges. So I'm sure everyone is wondering, what are skill badges and how we can use it? So skill badges are gained by completing a series of hands-on labs, including the final assessment challenge labs. And these are used to test your skills and earn Google Cloud Skill Badge to share with your network. A challenge lab is a scenario-based lab where you have to take the steps to complete the tasks. There are no instructions. You rely on what you learned previously in the previous labs. And we're going to see that actually happening during the Cloud Hero event. And over here, these are some brief overview of multiple skill badges that you can potentially earn. The Cloud Hero is going to be the step 1 of gaining data and machine learning and AI badge. Completing the 3 other labs and the game will gain you a Cloud Hero skill badge that starts your path. So you got to catch them all. And where can this take me? While collecting skill badges is important, they can help you get practice and training for becoming an associate cloud engineer certification. So how cool is that? Earning credentials like these are a great way to show potential employers what you can do and what you're capable of. And so you see that goes into learn, practice, prepare, then certify yourself to become an associate cloud engineer. And so all of this sounds really fun, but what would happen if something is unclear? Well, you can always get help. There are a few ways you can get help during this session and during the Cloud Hero session. You can mainly utilize our YouTube comment section and also our Discord channel. So make sure you have been added to it. And so there's also additional support that Quick Labs is having. Well, at the very bottom right corner of every Quick Lab, you might see this blue chat button. And over there, you'll always have a 24/7 technical support for Quick Labs itself. So if you're running into any issue, feel free to press the button and you're going to be matched with someone from Quick Labs that will be able to provide 24-hour support wherever you are in the world. And you can also Google for help. We want to know more. So see the helpful documentation at cloud.google.com. And so that gets us to our next part of this slide deck, which is the tour of the Quick Labs. So I'm going to go through the tour with everyone so that we know how to get started with Quick Labs. Sure, everyone, just give me a second. Over here. Yeah. Awesome. So as you noticed, this is an incognito mode on the top right. And this is mainly because we want the Quick Lab session to be running on just a private window so that it doesn't interfere with your own accounts and the accounts you have on file. So first of all, you would either sign in or join Quick Labs by pressing one of the two buttons. You can sign in with Google to make things a lot easier when signing up with it. I have a Quick Labs account, so I could just sign in with it and then sign in with Google. This would take me to my own Quick Labs account so that I can sign into it pretty easily. I can just jump in on that over here. So you have to go through your authentication and then, oh, okay. Hang on 1 second here. And then it will be
12 seconds later.
Awesome. Yeah, the university does have an extra step, verification step. And then, yep, we're here. So this is your startup page, what you're going to see when you get to Quick Labs. And so over here, you can see the wide range of tools and labs that Quick Labs has to offer. You can also see that they're basically organized by the kind of topic that they're going to discuss. We see big data, infrastructure, security, backup and security, websites, machine learning, which is going to be our main focus during the Cloud Hero event. And then there's an entire catalog filled with labs and tools that will help you become a cloud expert. And so for this lab itself, we usually highlight it on going through the tour of the Quick Labs and Google Cloud, since this is a great way to get you started to the Quick Labs itself and be able to get accustomed to it. Also, for this Quick Lab itself, we highly recommend having your own game name. So you see how, and like, if you're playing on some certain console or a gaming platform, you usually get your own name. This might sound really cool for something like that, but we highly recommend you choose your own name for your Quick Labs game so that we're able to basically monitor the leaderboard as you go through the Quick Lab Cloud Hero itself. You can also set your language to whatever language you feel like it's better for you, so that you are always understanding what is going on. Quick Labs is offered in multiple languages, so feel free to choose the language you feel like using. I would choose English. This is my favorite language so far. All right, so we can get back. After we chose our name, let's go through the tour of the Quick Labs itself together. So over here, you might see a lot of interesting things happening. So you see a timer at the Start Lab button. You see the title of the lab that we're going through. You see the time that it usually takes to finish the lab. And then you see a kind of table of contents. While it is accessible, since you can press on the main topic and then you get the drop down to where it starts talking about it. And so labs are very interactive. There's different kind of features and quizzes to it. So maybe we can go through this together. First of all, I highly recommend you read the overview, so you have an idea on what exactly you're learning in this lab. I know some of you might skip the reading, but I highly recommend this, especially with Quick Labs, since you'll be learning a completely new skill in just a short amount of time. And so it is important to understand fundamentally what are you looking to learn or what are you approaching. So maybe today we can go over what you'll learn. So we'll have an idea on the Quick Labs platform and identify key features of the lab environment. Maybe we can learn more about the Quick Labs credit and launch an instance of the lab. We will also have access to the Cloud Console with specific credentials, and that would help us know more how to set up credentials. And that's why we mainly highlight that it should be incognito mode. So we can also learn more about Google Cloud projects, identify common misconceptions and about them, and be able to clear those misconceptions and be great cloud experts. Learn more about Google Cloud Navigation menu, which is the hamburger menu, and identify types of Google Cloud services. Learn about the roles and then use of IAM services to inspect those available to specific users. And then the Cloud Shell, which is your online terminal to run comments that use G-Cloud Toolkit. And then the API library, which is mostly open for Quick Labs when we're working with Google Cloud Platform. But also this gives you an exposure to most of the libraries that you might be using once you start working on Quick Labs or the Google Cloud Platform yourself. And so with this, we're also going to use tools that are pre-installed in Cloud Shell to run commands such as touch, nano, which edits a text file, and then cat to create, edit, and output the contents of a file. So this is a introductory level lab. There's not much of prereqs, so maybe we can dive deeper into this. And so we're mainly talking over here about the main components of the lab. So you see the Start Lab button, which is the button that will help you create a temporary Google Cloud environment. So with this, once you press that, you'll get a temporary credential so you can sign into Google Cloud Platform. Since Google Cloud Platforms is usually a paid platform, with these credentials, you get access to them for free for that specific amount of time. So some labs are longer than others. The lab we're going to go over today is 45 minutes. So that's awesome. We can just jump in on that very soon. Also, it is important to see how many credits each lab has. As we mentioned, being a student gives you 200 free credits. The price for lab is usually 1 credit, which is equivalent to $1 US. But the introductory level ones usually cost 1 credit, and some of them are even free. And so with time, as I mentioned before, each lab would have its own time, and then when it reaches 0, it does remove all your cloud environment and removes all the resources you might have access to. So make sure to finish your lab on time and before losing all your hard work. Score, and that's the main thing we're relying on for Cloud Hero. We're going to have an insane leaderboard for all the heroes over there around the world. And so it is greatly important to finish labs on time and with accuracy so that you have your own score up on the leaderboard. Paying for a lab. Well, by being a part of the DSC community, I think you would go over this paywall that students are usually faced when attending labs such as Quick Labs. If you're ever asked for a credit card or payment methods, then reach out to us. There's probably something wrong, but you should have free access to the labs that you have on the day of Google Cloud Platform. And so with starting the lab, we start by pressing Start Lab, and then we can go over these stuff. But let's first start the lab. Okay, and then I should say that I'm not a robot. And then you get to choose your parking meters. And then, yeah. So now we do have our own username and password for our Google Cloud Platform kind of temporary environment. And so first, based on what we have read so far, I think we can answer some of these questions. So if we want to answer this question, so this builds a temporary environment in Google Cloud Platform. What do you think it should be? Do we have any answers in the chat? Anyone so far? Yep, I've seen one. It's the Start Lab button. That's right. That's great. And so when the timer reaches 0, you will lose access to your temporary Google Cloud environment. Is that true or false? Yep, you do lose access to your Google Cloud environment. That's true. Some labs have tracking, which scores your completion on hands-on lab activities. Is that right or wrong? Yep, you're all right. Some labs do have tracking, which scores your completion on the hands-on lab activities. And in order to receive the completion credit for the lab that has heading, you must complete the required hands-on lab activities. Yep, I think that's pretty obvious. And so in order to access that Cloud Console on the Google Cloud Platform, it is important to use the credentials offered to you over here. You would see that there are like an open Google Console button along with a username, password, and GCP project ID. So that button helps you open the Google Console, which is like the web console of Google Cloud. And that's where you will get most of your majority of work on the Google Cloud from this interference. All of the Google Cloud Quick Labs use Google Cloud Platform and some form. The project ID, this is very important because this is basically the organizing entity for your Google Cloud resources. And you must be sure that the project ID over here matches the one you would see on the Google Cloud Platform. And so let's dive deeper into Google Cloud. So you press this button, gets you to the sign-in page, and then make sure to copy the username by pressing this button over here. Copied, jump back, paste, next. Right. And then again, with the password, come back here, next. And then that gives you a nice introduction to your new account, your temporary Google account that has access to GCP. And so you would just confirm. Yeah. So welcome to Google Cloud Platform. It is also important to set the terms and conditions based on your country, and then you can agree and continue. Yeah. So over here, this is basically your introduction to Google Cloud Platform. You will see there's a lot of different tabs, a lot of different menus on the door. Don't get intrigued by it. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of different possibilities to look for. But the first thing you should check for is the project ID. So you need to make sure that that project ID matches the project ID over here. And that's to make sure that your work would be saved. And so sometimes we might have some glitches, and the project ID would not match. And when this happens, unfortunately, some of the work may not be saved. So just be sure that we're having the same project ID between Quick Labs and your actual GCP console. And so we went through this, we signed in, created our new account, and then bam, welcome to Google Cloud Platform. And so what fields, and then let's test our understanding. So what field is not found on the left pane? So on the left pane over here, what do you think is missing from here? Any answers? Yep, exactly. So we do have the open Google console, we do have the password, we have the project ID, so it has to be the system admin. That's right. And then the username in the left pane, which resembles Google XXX_student at Quick Labs, is a Cloud IAM identity. I think that is over here. It has specific domain name, and it has been assigned IAM roles that allows you to access the Google Cloud Platform. So always have a read on all different parts of the lab, and so you understand what the questions are asking you for. And if we're having a lab activity, you're pretty familiar with the kind of questions that the Quick Labs wants you to go with. So this is true. And so in order to understand the projects in the Cloud Console, we will basically view all the projects, since our main highlight for the day is a project called QuickLabs GCP 0.155, and then that would be different for each one of you all. And so in order to see all of the projects, you go to the title bar, select the project, click all, and then you'll have a look at all of them. So click all. This should match what we have on the QuickLabs console, and then all. And then this is all of the projects that are on right now in my console. Over here, you see QuickLabs resources, and this is a read-only lab. This does only give you resources to QuickLabs that are pre-installed just by using QuickLabs to access Google Cloud Platform. And so it is a very nice kind of project. When you need some resources, you can just jump back to it. But your progress would only be saved on this one, the one that is linked to your QuickLabs over here. And so this is basically to showcase all of the projects that you might be working on in QuickLabs, or maybe in your own personal kind of project. And some of the QuickLabs does require opening up multiple projects, but those are pretty rare. And so to test our understanding, the organizing identity for anything you build with Google Cloud is, what is it called? Google Storage Bucket, Google Cloud Project, username or password. I think we could remove username and password from it, but storage or project. Yep, you're right, project. So the QuickLabs resources is a shared read-only with all QuickLab users, which means that you cannot delete or modify it. Is that right? Yep, that's true. And then the QuickLab resources is the project where you run all of your lab steps. Is that right? Yep. I see some of the correct answers. That's false. That's right. And so we do run our resources on that GCP project ID. Okay, let's get started with navigation menu and services. And that's where you see a lot of the exciting tools that QuickLabs has to offer. Once we click on the hamburger, you get to see all of that crazy kind of tools that we could use for GCP, so that we could utilize the kind of tools that we want to see in our own projects for QuickLabs, or for our own, I would say, business plan once you're getting into industry and becoming actually a cloud expert. And so the categories that are available for the Google Cloud Services are compute, storage, networking, cloud operations tools, big data, and artificial intelligence. And those might sound all like big terms, but they do offer a lot of different tools that students and experts can get hands-on and be able to create a solution that better fits their business plan. And so the compute as a variety of machine types that support any kind of workload, storage or data storage options for structured and unstructured data, networking to balance application traffic and provision security rules. And then you have cloud operations, tools, big data that allows you to process and analyze large data sets. And then, of course, artificial intelligence that do run specific artificial intelligence and machine learning tasks on Google Cloud. And so there is a nice documentation on that that covers each of these categories. Have a look at that if you're interested. And so let's continue. These menus could be found over here: compute, storage, datasets, networking, operations, tools, artificial intelligence. And of course, there are other solutions too. Yeah. And so let's get back. All right. So to view the roles and admissions, they want us to click on the hamburger, click on the I am an admin, so that you can see the list of users and the accounts that are given specific roles. And so over here, you can go to I am an admin, and then go into roles. And see, yeah, I am an admin. That's true. So here, I am an admin. Okay, so over here, you basically get to see all of your admin roles. You get to see all of your organization roles. But so far, we only have 3 admins on this cloud instance. And the admins, us, are the student over here with that Quick Labs email. And so we're given a role of an editor and a viewer. And so maybe we can get more in depth of what roles are once we get back to Quick Labs. But you could notice there is also an owner role, right? And there's a storage admin, viewer, editor. And so these might all sound pretty familiar, but maybe let's dive deeper into them. So over here, we have the roles, which is viewer, which also only gives permission to read only action and does not affect the state. This is only for like viewing, but of course not modifying any resources or data. An editor role gives you all viewer permission, plus that you can modify the state, such as like changing an existing resource. An owner gives all editor permissions and viewing permission, in addition to managing roles and permissions for the project so that they could add more roles or they could add more users with different roles. And so this might all sound pretty familiar if you're working with any kind of group that does give multiple different roles for accessing and editing the data. And so let's test our understanding for that portion of the lab. So offers quick access to the cloud services and also outlines its offering. What could that be? Navigation menu. That's true. And that's where we saw most of the Quick Labs being organized by networking, AI, machine learning, big data. So that is pretty cool. And so primitive roles, so the roles that are preset, are project level permissions. And unless otherwise specified, control access and management to all Google Cloud services. That's true. Yep. We do have the primitive roles you've seen have different kind of access and management to all Google Cloud services, but they all do provide that. And so what of these provides all of your permission plus permissions for action that modify states, such as changing existing resources? Okay, so over here, they're mentioning viewer permissions and permissions to modify. So of course, it's not a Google Cloud project, so I think we could take that option out of the page. But would it be, it does have viewer and editing permissions. So of course, it's not going to be a viewer mode. It could either be editor or owner. But since over here, they did not mention any kind of managing roles, then it should probably be an editor role. You're doing also well so far. How's Google Cloud seeming like? Yeah. So for API and services, well, Google Cloud APIs are like key part of Google Cloud. Like there are more than 200 plus APIs in the area, ranging from business administration to machine learning, and they're all pretty easy to integrate with your Google Cloud projects. And so, of course, we all know that API stands for Application Programming Interface, which you could call directly via the client library. And you can also use the resource-oriented design principles that are documented in some of the design guidelines. But when Quick Labs provisions a new Google Cloud projects for lab instance, it enables most of the APIs automatically, so you can use them right away. But when you create your own GCP project outside of Quick Labs, you'll have to enable some certain APIs yourself. And so most of the cloud APIs provide you with the detailed information on the project's usage of that API, and that includes traffics, error rates, and even latencies, which helps you quickly find some problems with the application that uses Google services. And so in order to see the APIs, you would go back to your menu or navigation menu, and then you will go to the APIs and services, and then you will see the full library that we have of APIs. And then from there, they want us to enable Dialogflow, which is mainly used for assistants such as Google Assistant that relies on Dialogflow, which understands and responds to your text and voice. And so we want to enable it and then use the back button to verify that it's now enabled. And so we go back here, we look at the APIs that we have. So APIs and services, and we can go to the library. We can search for the library, but we can see Dialogflow API is over here. So if you search Dialogflow. So we want to make sure to enable that API. It does give a minute, but it should work. Yeah.
12 seconds later.
Yep, we're right in. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, the cloud does sometimes take some time, but at the end, it should work. And so over here, that is basically giving you an entrance to Dialogflow. And over here in this menu, you can see matrices, quotas, and credentials to help get this API up and running to your project. Right now, we're just experimenting and looking at the different APIs there to offer at Google Cloud Platform. But feel free to try it yourself and be able to see like the documentation of Dialogflow. And so you can experiment it, try to use it in your own app and see how things are going. And so to test our understanding, so when you start a lab in QuickLabs, you need to enable APIs in your project to start working on QuickLabs, start working with Google Cloud. And so for this question, we did mention before that once you're at Google Cloud, enables most APIs automatically. So you can work on the lab tasks right away, and you don't have to waste time on setting them on. And so for this question, I believe the answer must be false. All right. Cloud Shell, one of the most interesting parts of GCP. It is basically your built-in command prompt or terminal that allows you to enter comments in the terminal prompt in order to manage resources and services in your GCP. And so it lets you run all of your shell commands without leaving the console, and does include pre-installed command lines. And so to work in shell, you need to click Activate Cloud Shell and then click Continue if prompted. So, and we should be able to expect having a response like this. And so to click on the Cloud Shell, you might find it at the very top next to your search bar and like before help. So you just click on it. And then it's free for all users. Click Continue. And then it's provisioning the Google Cloud Shell machine so that you can get your hands on your terminal online. And so we're in. That easy. And we got the welcome to Cloud Shell. So we're pretty sure that we got the output that is outlined in this QuickLabs. We are on the right track. And so we want to first authenticate the Google Cloud Shell by writing gcloud authentication list. And so if you don't want to type it out, or you want to make sure that you don't have any typos, you can always click over here so that you can copy it to your clipboard. And so you can just paste it over here. And then bam, yep, we authorize Google Cloud Platform. That's awesome. We do have our account over here. So now it's an active account and it's authorized. And so Google Cloud Shell does include a pre-installed with some of the specific command lines. Of course, the main toolkit is gcloud, which is used for many platforms. And there is, of course, the authentication list, which lists when we write gcloud, we do get an authentication list, which lists the credentialed account in your GCP. And so with this, we can also use comments that are text related, so that we can have like text editors like Nano that we're going to use right now, and also to create files using touch comments, such as the one we're going to use over here. And so to create a file called text, of course, we need to run this comment. We can also copy this and then paste it over here. So right now, it's being created, but you have no kind of output of like what happened, but the comment should have ran. And in order to see your current directory, you write ls. And then now we see our text file over here. It is in, we have the README Cloud Shell text file, and we have the test.txt file that we just created. And so we can come back, and then, of course, we receive the following output. And then in order to edit the file, we write nano.txt.txt, and then welcome to our text editor on GCP and Shell. And so when we are on this level, we can type in, it would be like your normal text editor. It does include, you can type, you can put spaces, and you have some forward, backward, and have some space. But for this Quick Labs itself, they want us to write in Google Cloud and Quick Labs are the best, and they truly are. And so you click on copy, so you can copy it, we can save it. But when you want to save that file into terminal, you press Control plus X, then press Y, then press Enter. But if you're on a Mac, then instead of Control, you still use Control because it's not a Mac. So over here, and then we said X, and then Y. Yes. Control X and then Y and then Enter. Yeah, awesome. So we have it saved. And so in order to confirm that it was uploaded and updated correctly, use cat so you can read in the file and know more about what is inside the file that you might save. And then this is basically telling us that it wasn't saved. So we can go through this again. So nano.txt.txt gives us a command line, and then we can paste. Oh, we can paste this. Google Cloud and Quick Labs are the best. Again, sometimes you may occur with something like this. So you need to be always sure that your the data that you entered are saved, and so you don't lose any kind of data. So save, yes, and then let's go back. All right. So let's try again. cat.text.txt, then. Oh, it's not text, it's text. And then Google Cloud and Quick Labs are the best. Awesome, we got it working. And so these are the main kind of tools that we're going to go through with today with Google Cloud Console. Make sure to end your lab before leaving so that you don't lose any of your work. And so all of your contents and all of your activities has been saved. And this does also cut in your access to Google Cloud Platform. And so it is very important to close the tab for Google Cloud Platform so that it doesn't interfere with any other lab you might be working on soon. And so click on End Lab, make sure you press OK, and then be sure to also give a review, but be thoughtful about it, and maybe give in some comments so we can make sure to always enhance the labs that are offered in Quick Labs. Thanks for reviewing this lab, and let's get back to the slide deck. Thank you all. Hello. So we went through Quick Labs. We went through different portion of Quick Labs, and we were able to see how to utilize Quick Labs in the ways that we wanted to. Quick Labs are pretty nice. They're hands-on. They provide you a lot of glimpses and experiences of how to use different parts of the Google Cloud Platform. And so it is very important to get yourself into it. And so a pro tip that I would love to share with you is make sure that the project ID is correct one, matches the lab you're currently working on, so that you don't miss any of the work you've been putting on the Quick Labs itself. Also, the ID should match the project ID that can be found with the assigned credentials of the lab. The GCP console has few areas to know about too. You see the search bar in the middle allows me to quickly jump into other GCP service pages. And that prompt icon on the right of the search bar opens a Google Cloud Shell, as you've seen as I'm running through this lab. And so with the many challenges that could be completed in the GUI console, but some would require the command line, and that's how you get there. The icon with the box and an arrow in it on the top of the Google Cloud Shell pane could be used to pop up the Google Cloud out of the video window, and that would be perfect if you're trying to work on the GUI aspect of Google Cloud Platform while still typing in your terminal line. And so without further ado, let's dive deeper into SQL by calling Adi to the stage. Hello, Adi? Yeah, I can hear you. Hello, Adi? Oh, okay. There is no audio. Okay, while we solve the technical difficulty, does anyone have like any kind of questions about Google Cloud Platform? Oh, Adi's back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Right,
I was just going to say, great presentation. I really enjoyed it.
Right, thank you. In case you all don't remember, Adi is the DSC lead at the University of Arizona. I'm glad to have you on stage.
Yep, I'm glad to be here, and I'm super excited to teach everybody some SQL. I was wondering, by the way, have you actually worked with SQL before? I know my co-host yesterday, he actually used our event to prepare for a test.
Yeah, I do remember that. Actually, I've worked with it previously, but this could be a great refresher.
Awesome, sounds great. Then without further ado, let's jump into this intro to SQL, and let's take a moment and chat, everybody, to thank Abdullah for his amazing presentation. And we will see him again at the end for the Q&A, so stick around for that. With that, thank you, Abdullah.
Good luck and have fun learning session, everyone. Goodbye.
Before we jump into the actual SQL content, I would like to remind everybody that we have the Think Outside the Valley Discord server and the YouTube chat where you guys can ask questions. Andrew and Bobby will be there to help you out with any sort of technical issues that you might be having. Remember, on the Discord server, you do need to click the green check mark to actually get access to the server, so don't forget to do that. And with that, let's start talking about some SQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. You might hear some people say SQL. You'll hear me more often than not say SQL. And an interesting little tidbit is that both are actually correct. And the history behind it is fairly interesting and something you might even want to look up in your spare time. But let's talk about the language itself. SQL is a language built specifically to create, modify, and query databases. Specifically, SQL works with what we call relational databases. So let's talk a little bit about relational databases and our data, and then we'll talk about the language itself. So a relational database, as the name implies, is just a collection of data where the data has some sort of relation to each other. Usually this is in the form of tables where everything along one row is talking about one entity, so to speak. I'd like to draw your attention to the Star Wars table that's on this slide right now. And let's look at the entry that says Obi-Wan Kenobi. You notice that next to Obi-Wan Kenobi, it says his lightsaber color is green. And so I know that when I'm looking along the same row, I am talking about the same person. So if I wanted to know what Obi-Wan or Anakin's lightsaber color was, I would just look along that same row. And Jedi and saber color that you see bolded on the top, those are the labels or the column names. Similarly, in the Disney shows table that you see just below that, a title is associated with a rating, PG-13 or G, and a year of release. And you know that if you want to find out which year a certain title was released in, you just look along the same row because that is how your data is related. You won't hear me call these things relational databases as we go along. You will hear me call them tables, but they are the same thing. And when you put a lot of tables into a database, that is what you call basically a database in SQL. So just to recap, at a high level, tables are collections of labeled data. The labels are the column names like title and saber color. And a database is just a collection of those tables. Now let's talk about our first SQL command. Now that we know what our data looks like, we can actually do something with the data. The first command that we're going to talk about is the select command or keyword. Select, as the name implies again, is just used to select a column from your table. And as we go along this sort of intro to SQL, I would like to point out that SQL is intuitively very close to the natural English language. And so when you look at SQL commands, they're often basically how you would say them in English. For example, let's say that I wanted to select the Jedi column from the Star Wars table that you see on the right of the slide. What I would say is select Jedi, and Jedi is the column name, from Star Wars. And what that's going to do is it's going to go through that table and it's going to give me the output, which is just the Jedi column. The output is what you see on the bottom of the slide, and the output is basically just a table. It is called the result set, but know that it is just a table. Of course, it's not super useful to just select one column at a time. We really, and what we ideally want to do is select multiple columns so we can analyze and see the relationship between them. Fortunately for us, it's really simple to do this in SQL. Instead of one column name, if we just put column 1, column 2, column 3, etc., what SQL is going to do is it's going to go ahead and select all those columns from your table. So if instead of just the Jedi column, I wanted both the Jedi column and the saber color column from this same table on the right, what I would do is I would say, if you look at the first example on the screen, select Jedi, saber color from Star Wars. And that's going to go ahead and pick out both those columns from your table. You might notice that in our table, we only have the Jedi and the saber color columns. So in this case, what we can actually do is get the same result by doing select star or asterisk from Star Wars. Those of you familiar with Unix might recognize that asterisk is a wildcard operator. And what it does is it goes ahead and selects everything. And so if I say select asterisk from Star Wars, it's going to go ahead and select the Jedi and the saber color column because those are the only two columns that we have. And so the result is the exact same as if we said select Jedi, saber color from Star Wars. Now, the next command that we'll talk about is the from command or keyword. And some of you might have noticed that in our previous examples, we already did use this keyword, and that makes sense. That's because from is used in conjunction with basically all of our other commands, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to say something like select or delete without actually telling SQL which data you're talking about. From is just your way of saying that, hey, this is the table that I'm talking about. So let's look at the database just to get this point across a little better. In our Disney database, we have 3 separate tables. And so if you say something like select Jedi, you need to actually tell SQL that, hey, I'm talking about the Star Wars table specifically when I want the Jedi column. And so if we look at the same example from our previous slides, what we're saying is select Jedi. So selecting the Jedi column from Star Wars. And what that from does is it goes ahead, like we just said, and tells SQL, hey, I want my data from the Star Wars column. Again, I would just like to point out before we move forward that SQL is very close to the English language. And if I did, in fact, want to select, the Jedi column from my Star Wars table, I would probably in my head say something like select Jedi from Star Wars. And that is basically exactly what you say in SQL. And then, you put a semicolon at the end, but some SQL setups will actually allow you to get away without putting that semicolon as well. Okay, let's have a little quiz. I have the same database up on the screen that we had at the very beginning of our SQL deck. And what I'd like you guys to do is take a moment to see if you can figure out how to write a query or those statements that we've been writing to select the title column from the Disney shows table. And I'd just like to remind you guys, as you're thinking about the answers, that if you guys need any technical help, you can ask for it on our Discord server, Think Outside the Valley, and in the YouTube chat. We have some awesome moderators there to help you out. Also, remember to sign up at your DSE chapters and subscribe to this channel because there's going to be a lot of awesome content here for you guys. And I'm going to give you guys a few seconds, see if anybody has the answers in the chat. Remember that it is very close to how you would say it in English. And so think back to how we selected the Jedi column from our Star Wars table, and think how you can use something very similar to select the title column from your Disney shows table. I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds there. And
12 seconds later.
Whoops, I am back. Okay, I'll give you guys a few more seconds. And if you said select title from Disney shows, and I do see at least some of you saying that in the chat, then you would be absolutely correct. All we want to do is select the title column from the table that is Disney shows. Okay, now that we know that, now that we know those two commands, let's talk about the SQL command or keyword where. And let's look at the Disney shows table again. It is only so useful to select entire columns from your table, and what you might want to do is filter those further. So maybe I'm selecting the title column and maybe I'm selecting the year column, but what I really want to do is find out which year the movie was released in, or maybe I select title and rated, and then I want to say, hey, I really want the movies that are rated G. What I do is very simple. I say select ID, title, rated, because those just happen to be the columns that I want to select from Disney shows, which is the table that I want to select them from. And then the new thing that we're doing is we're saying where rated equal to, in single quotations, G. And what that goes ahead and does is, first, you're going to select the ID, title, and rated columns from your Disney shows table. And then you'll filter your results everywhere by where the rated column is set to the value G. Now, you might notice that when we do this, the results appear in the order in which they were in the table. And maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you want to order it by something. Maybe if I was looking at, the same results, maybe I want to order it by the ID of the movie. That brings us to our last SQL command or keyword that we want to cover today. And that is the order by command. So like I just said, let's talk about this same result. We're getting all the movies that are rated G. And what I really want to do is I want to sort them in the order of their ID values. I simply use the exact same query, but with one change, and that is at the end, I'll say order by an ID. ID is the name of the column that I want to order my results by. And so now you see that my results compared to before, where they came, in the order that they were in the table, now they're in numerical order, saying 100,000 first, 200,000 next, and 300,000 last. You can also go the other way. You can, instead of ascending order, which is the default, you can also have it in descending order. And if you wanted that, all we have to do is write the exact same query, but add the keyword DESC at the end of the order by. So now you say select blah, blah, blah from the table where rated equal to G, and then you say order by ID, same thing, and then you say DESC. And that's going to give you your results in descending order. So now you have the 300,000 value first, 200,000 next, and 100,000 last. And that actually brings us to the end of our SQL deck. And it's a very short intro to SQL. It should help you get up and running for the Cloud Hero that's happening this weekend. And we are going to stick around for a couple of minutes for a Q&A session, for which I'd like to invite Abdullah back on stage. Hey, Abdullah.
Hello, great work, everyone. I got to learn a lot of new, exciting stuff about SQL. So that was a great refresher.
Awesome. Remember, guys, we are taking questions live right now. And so if you want to put your questions in the YouTube chat, we'll take a moment to answer them.
Yep.
Any questions? I believe we have a question for Abdullah, which is, how do I get to select a project window?
So if we're talking about the QuickLab project that I've been through, to select the project window, it is, you can, okay, over here, I want to show it to you, but yeah, okay, the QuickLab itself is off. Okay, so I think you will probably need to select the project, and then like you need to have them both on both tabs. But if you're out of the tab, then you can go into QuickLabs again and then click on the same project that you were working on, and it should get you back if you did not end the project itself.
I see another question in the chat about SQL, which says, I noticed that some of the keywords are capitalized. Is that important? Great question. So no, SQL is actually case insensitive, which means your keywords, it doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not. But as convention, most people do capitalize their keywords. If you're talking about the column names, though, that's a different story. And depending on your setup, those may or may not be case insensitive.
So there is a question that is asking, so how to get credits for QuickLabs again? I registered with a cool account, but still have 0 credits. Okay, so I think I'll share back the link that I shared regarding students getting access to the QuickLabs. And so over here, I think we can pull out the slides again. Yep. And so you can claim your benefits at ge.com/learncloud/programs, and that would also be shared on the comment section on YouTube. That will be able to provide you with the 200 credits that Google Cloud has to offer for students.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
For sure. let's see, do we have any more questions?
I believe there is one from Venta. It is asking what to expect from the next session. Well, our next session is going to be the Google Cloud session happening this weekend. It will be on 2 days, so that's pretty exciting. In that session, we'll be going over 4 labs, while the 4th one would be the challenging one. And so always look out for this so that you can get your GCP tool and badge during that event. We'll be running a leaderboard, so we want to see the clouds and the heroes that we have in our communities be able to finish the lab pretty fast and do understand all of the contents that is there to offer. The labs are also could be redone, so if you're not really happy about the score, you can redo it, and it is a great way to learn and compete with everyone across North America.
For sure. And remember, guys, if you aren't already part of a DSE chapter, you can look for your DSE chapter online and sign up at your local DSE chapter. You will be able to attend and RSVP for the events through that. And I think we're out of questions. So let's bring Danny back on stage. Let's give him a warm welcome to close out this event.
Well, I really should be thanking y'all for all of that amazing information. Not only the run through of Quick Labs, so we can be ready to go for this Cloud Hero event upcoming this weekend, but also to learn more about SQL. Many of us on the stream, including myself, were able to brush up on a number of things. So Adi, Abdullah, thank y'all so much for this amazing event. We look forward to seeing each and every one of y'all at our upcoming event this weekend. Remember, RSVP at your local DSC chapter page and make sure to arrive on time. This game is going to be limited to the first 500 students, so make sure you get your spot, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Goodbye.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you all. Have a great night.